Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we're going to talk about fresh release from Special Hobby. So this kit is molded in 1/72 scale. It copies SF-37 Viggen. It's a, as you can see written here, Swedish Ice edition, and you can see the aircraft on this nice box art. So plastic itself is quite new, I would say, because first release happened last year and then it was let's say reproduced in several versions, but this time we get this SF-37 version, and this is a commercial sample, so it means you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. So first of all, box size is typical. Here you can see comparison with my hand, and then on the sides we have just typical information here and here, so nothing special, I would say. We can just open this box and take a look inside. Just give me a second. Okay. So here is what we have inside. Assembly manual is on the top, then we have decal sheet, and then we have a lot of plastic sprues, and as you can see, clear frame was separate. So obviously we'll start with plastic and then we will gradually move to decals and to assembly manual. So first of all, I would like to start with this clear plastic sprue, and in the meantime let me remind you that by pressing the like button you support us. Subscribing is also support, and of course we have also a special button on our website with which you can donate to us, and we will be using this money for new photo and video equipment, or maybe for new kits to be reviewed on this channel. So here is the first clear plastic sprue. As you can see, molding quality looks really great, and we have separate sections of the canopy, so you can open the canopy on your model, which is really cool for 1/72 scale jet kit. Not that many manufacturers even today in 2020 include such feature, but masks are not included here, so you have to do it to cover all these clear sections with your own hands, because as far as I remember there should be aftermarket set, so if you are okay with spending extra money you can just buy it and it will speed up your assembly process. Okay, I will leave it here and I will open the next plastic bag so that you can see the gray plastic sprues. Just give me a second. And also we have here a small resin part as far as you can see, so maybe I'll show it first and then we'll move on to gray parts. So here is the resin part. It's really small antenna, as you can see here, so you will have to install it because as far as I understand it should be used on the Swedish version. I can maybe even bring it closer if camera will focus. Just give me a second. Let's try it like this. Yeah, now you should be able to see it. So it's really tiny part, and of course be sure not to lose it, because otherwise you won't be able to fully replicate the aircraft in the given version. Okay, we start with gray plastic. Here it is, empty hole in the middle. So let's zoom out a bit. Here we have top section of the fuselage. As you can see, we have recessed panel lines and riveting in all necessary spots. We have here also some engine parts for the tail section and some separate doors for the landing gear. I can zoom in back on the fuselage so that you can see the external detailing. It looks really nice. I mean, this is a 1/72 scale kit, so I really appreciate that such level of detailing comes out of the box. And if you flip it over, here inside you can see some guiding elements which should help you with proper alignment of these parts. Here we also have some internal detailing, which is also cool, so don't worry, it doesn't take a lot of experience to assemble this aircraft, let's say. Okay, next we go on with more of the fuselage parts. So here we have the lower fuselage section. Here we have also the rear section parts which should be connected together. And again we have recessed panel lines, obviously absolutely the same level of detailing as on the previous fuselage part. Here you can notice the main landing gear legs, and if you flip it over, again we have some guiding elements inside which should help you with proper position of these parts. I can zoom into the landing gear legs so that you can see them closer. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 attachment points, so it's not that difficult to separate them and install on your model. Okay. Next we go on with another grey plastic sprue. This one is dedicated to wing parts. So let's zoom in a bit. Now you should be able to see it. So here we have 2 top parts as far as I understand. Yeah. And then we also have some of the external elements. I guess these are flaps, these are frontal sections of the air intake. As you can see, they're throughout, and they have this special protection which should prevent the accidental breaking of the sprue. And here you can see these parts, wing parts with wheel wells. So these sections are pre-molded, you won't have to glue anything extra, and that's really cool because it looks really detailed out of the box in my opinion. Just be sure not to break this pitot tube, because then it will be difficult to fix it. Let's zoom in so that you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, now we zoom out and move on to the next grey plastic sprue. So here it is. This one is full of small parts. So these parts will be used for external and internal equipment. For example, here we have landing gear wheels. We also have pilot seat parts and some parts for the cockpit, like instrument panels here, nose landing gear leg. And if you flip it over here from the opposite side, you can notice that landing gear wheels are molded as one-piece elements, which is really cool because you won't have to spend your time with separate halves. And let's zoom in even more. Now you should be able to see the instrument panels. So they're nicely detailed for out-of-the-box version, but of course if you want more you can get some PE set which will bring extra detailing into your model. But this is a 1/72 scale kit, so I wouldn't say it's a main priority for such small size model. Okay, unless you open the cockpit, of course. Here we go on with lower wing half. Of course, ailerons and flaps, they're pre-molded. Then here we have separate air brakes. You can position them in open or closed version. Then we continue with various landing gear parts. And that's pretty much all. Let's flip it over here. You can see that these ailerons and flaps, they will serve as a guiding elements. And the same can be said about these wing edge sections, which is really cool because it reduces the amount of the possible gaps. You can get them only here, and you can basically focus on this area without wasting your time on some other sections of the wing. Okay, next we go on with this plastic sprue here. As you can notice, we have few tank parts, also cockpit bases, nose landing gear wheel well. Here we have air brakes, which will be placed on the... Actually, these are thrusters, as far as I understand. Here we have also these air ducts, and if you flip it over, on the fuel tanks we have guiding pins, which should help you with proper alignment, of course. What I was surprised to see in the previous reviews, and I am surprised to see that it continues in this one as well, we have this nose section which should be glued out of 2 halves, so be careful while joining these 2 parts together. Even though inside here we have guiding pins, but still it will be quite a tricky thing to do, so take your time, do not hurry with this, because it will be noticeable on the finished kit as well. And the last grey plastic sprue is dedicated to the front canard. As you can see, it is molded as one-piece part, so nothing else to say about it, let's say. Next we continue with one more plastic bag with decal sheet, so just give me a second. It is quite wide, and it is printed that it is printed in Edward, if you understand me. So here we have this decal sheet, and here is the small writing that is made by Edward. So we have all necessary symbols for several marking options. We also have stencils, we even have some decals for the cockpit, And that's really great because you get all this stuff out of the box. So if you're okay with such detailing, you can just use standard decals and you will be good to go. And of course, printing quality looks nice. Okay, next we go on with assembly manual. So here it is, large color printed brochure with short history note on the first page. And of course, history note is written in Czech and English. Here we have parts map, paints chart. Note that only few parts won't be used, so be careful. Try not to lose any of this. We start with pilot seat, then we continue with cockpit floor, and of course this top section of the fuselage you will have to cut off some plastic. So be sure to do it in order to get the right fitment. Next we continue by installation of the cockpit base into this top section. Note that pilot seat will be installed later. You'll have to drill some holes here. Next, actually it is interesting that you have to modify a lot of plastic. As you can see here again, you cut off. That's really surprising. Okay, next we continue with these air intake parts. The tail section is assembled separately and joined with main wing. So then you join these two halves of the aircraft together. And here is the nose cone, by the way. Note how many clear parts will have to be installed here. And I hope you understand why. Here we have pylons, which will be installed from the bottom. A lot of small parts, that's why I'm a bit surprised. Next, here we continue with landing gear. So this aircraft has quite a special landing gear, so it will be worth playing with some weathering, maybe painting techniques in order to show it, and especially if you assemble the aircraft with retracted landing gear. Next we continue with canopy. Of course there is an option for the open canopy, and as you can see it is the same part used for both versions. Next we continue with special antenna made out of resin. As I remember, this small part, it is applicable for A and C camouflages. And here we have these three marking options. Some of the resin accessories, also masks for the canopy and wheels, and of course resin accessories for the cockpit, for the external detail, and even some figures. So first marking option comes from 2005. Sweden. Next we continue with one more from March 2000, camouflaged aircraft, quite interesting. And of course the grey marking option, it is also Swedish aircraft from 2002. Here it is. And on the last page we have the stenciling guide, some other kits in 1/72 scale. We reviewed some of them so you can find it easily. And here we have Super Mystery kit, which is supplied together with book as far as I can see. And of course there is also mask set and some special tools which can be bought separately. So as I said, this kit is already available. You can get it on official Special Hobby web store. In my opinion, it is a good addition to the Viggen lineup of in small scale from Czech manufacturer. Of course it will be a must-have for all fans of this jet aircraft, because there are no comparable alternatives on the market in the same scale, let's say. And of course I will be happy to hear your opinion about this kit here in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!